Perfection isn't easily achieved. It takes hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Through their commitment to excellence, Sage Fruit Company has been supplying customers with the best tree fruit in the Pacific Northwest for over 3 generations. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide consistent, high-quality apples and pears all year long. Look for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
We are back at Huset's to try the High Bank Nationals weekend all again. Welcome race fans to Raceday live on the Sage Fruit stage here from Huset Speedway. If you're here in the Midway, gather around because the next hour is going to be a lot of fun. And if you're watching on Dirt Vision, thank you so much for tuning in as we kick off our coverage here from the stage. My name's Connor Wade, the pit reporter for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series on Dirt Vision. Joining me, Shawn Neisteadt, the voice of Huset Speedway and Jackson Motorplex on a weekly basis. Shawn, last time we were here, the area we're sitting in right now was probably covered in water, but man, it's great to be back.
Yeah, what a mess that was. But you know, you've got to roll with the punches you get in this business, and that's exactly what the team here at Huset Speedway did. Everything kind of moves over to this weekend, and we're getting set to go. Already more than 40 World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint cars checked in to do battle here tonight for a $25,000 payday. Not a bad Friday evening.
It's going to be a lot of fun. The third man at the table needs no introduction. He is a 10-time champion with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. This is Donny Schatz, driver of the Tony Stewart Racing number 15. Donny, welcome. Good afternoon. You seem to be in a good mood. Are you ready for this Huset's weekend here with a lot of money on the line?
Yeah, I've been on the campaign trail all week, so I'm glad to be back at the track and looking forward to having a great Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like you said, last time we were here, I think Mother Nature threw us, I don't even know if you'd call that a curveball. I think you'd call that a snowball or something. So glad you can't tell that there was 1 ounce of water here. These guys have done a tremendous job of fixing things up and getting us back here, and we're here to try to race for some good money.
Last time, big money on the line, Jackson, Minnesota. It had your name on it. Things looked very, very good that weekend.
Yeah, I think if you look at the stats for 2-day shows, you know, the first night we show up to a 2-day show, we've kind of struggled, barely top 10. That's kind of where we were, Jackson, the first night. And then the second night, the guys, threw everything at it but a new driver. And, you know, we came out of there, car rolled from the time we hit the racetrack to qualifying heat race. So we snuck away with another Jackson Nationals win. And hopefully we can, we're here at the same spot for 3 nights, so hopefully we can not have any down nights, but if we're going to have one tonight, it'll be it, and then build towards the weekend.
So the furthest back that I can find you coming to Huset's on record is 1995 with the Outlaws. Obviously, since then, the track's undergone a couple of name changes. It's undergone ownership changes. The facility's been transformed. The racetrack itself, has it changed much since then, or has it always pretty much been the same?
Well, I'm not sure. We could go out there and turn 4 and see there used to be a big crack in the concrete. I'm pretty sure I did that back in '93 after hitting about the 40th time. So I think it's done some transformation, obviously. I think we've all been here in the day when we've seen cars land out here where we're sitting right now, and the fences, everything's been improved. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable facility and the amenities for the fans. So this was a Sunday night staple for me growing up, going back to when I first started. So yeah, it's come a long ways, but there's only so much you can do to that dirt inside those walls, and I think these guys have done everything they possibly can to try to make better racing, and we'll see what happens here this weekend.
It's like you're reading my mind. I wanted to go back and talk about a specific date in 1995. It was May 15th. Do you remember anything significant about that night here at Huset's?
You could ask me last Friday. I can't remember it. So you want to go back to, what'd you say, 95?
May 15th, 1995. You were 17 years old.
Yeah, I remember I was very fortunate here at a young age. I won on Father's Day, and I won here on Mother's Day. And I have not been able to do that since. So I think it must be one of those two, wasn't it?
Yep, it was your first win here, May 15th of that year.
It was Father's Day then. So, yeah, pretty historic. I didn't be able to, I have more outlaw wins here than I have local show wins from back in the day. But if you look back, 30 years now? I mean, look who raced here on Sunday nights. The guys that drove Guy Forbrook's cars were all outlaw caliber guys. Daniel Lasowski, Johnny Herrera, Jack Hodenshield. There were just so many great guys that that's kind of what pushed young guys like myself at the time to get better, and they all seemed to help. And they used to have special shows here that even Mark Kinser showed up for, late in the year. So there was always a great talent and a great field of cars that kept pushing you. And even their local guys. I raced, grew up here racing against Chad Riddell and Todd Wessels and guys that are no longer racing. But even then, them guys could come here even on an outlaw show and win. So it's always been a pretty racy, pretty historic place.
What was it like for you learning whenever you first got into 410 sprint car racing at upper levels? Because I feel like fans today, we're not watching Donny Schatz go out there and, I mean, in a sense, and if you ask you are going to say, oh yeah, we're trying to get better every night, but you're not trying to sharpen your skills every night. Like, a guy like, a Ryan Timms or something like that. What was it like for you back then whenever you were going to the racetrack to try and get better and race your way to being as good as the top guys at the time?
Well, I was very fortunate. My father was the one he was at every race, and he never got to race at any of this level, but he was obviously a very good observer, and he could see things, and obviously, if I did something wrong, he could find out what it was and tell me what to do, and try to help correct me with that. I obviously chose not to listen to a lot of it until, tried to learn it the hard way. But I think when you have someone that does that really understands racing and understands that there's more to this than, just a driver getting in a good car. I think my father kind of pitched it to us one time. He said there's like 5 key things that there are in making this successful. He says, I got a driver, I got a chassis, I got a motor, I got a crew chief, and I got tires. And, the tires are the same thing everybody has, so you got to eliminate that. And I think he said, if I'm going to get a different driver, I'm clear spending my money on someone else. Now we're down to 3 factors, so it's car, motor, and crew chief. And when he said that to the crew chief said, well, we're getting different cars. So, you kind of break it down to simple things like that. And I've kind of been a guy of loyalty with the products I have. I've run the same thing for very long periods of time, and you can make anything work. It's just how hard you want to work in it, how hard you want to understand it. But it is, it's ever changing, and that's what I mean when I say always learning. There's nights my skills aren't the greatest, and you got to be a little bit more aggressive. But then there's nights where some of those things you've learned help you in a situation where a young guy might get a little bit razzled or frazzled. So it all goes hand in hand.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. told me one time that whenever he raced for his dad, he was always worried that his dad was going to fire him. Were you ever worried your dad was going to fire you if you didn't run good?
Oh, I did. I got fired twice. But the lady in this trailer right next door here hired me 3 times. So she outwon that battle with him. So, yeah, there was many times where, and you got to understand that that's just the way it is when you're in competition. It's not always going to be a pat on the back. It's not always going to be the glory you want. It's always going to be the financial success you want, and my father was no different. So if I had a pat out on the back coming, I really didn't get it. Maybe in my older days, when he could look at me and say, thank God Tony Stewart's paying the bills. But when I drove for him, he was pretty switched on and made sure that I capitalized on every opportunity that I had in front of me.
You've transitioned from those early days as the mentee. Now you're the mentor, watching Layla and Amelia get their careers going. Are there ever moments when you're talking to them where you're like, this is what I was like at 16 or 17 years old? Or is there ever moments like, I understand what my dad was going through at this point in my career?
It's not even going to be any similarity because, my father was hard, and that's why I am the way I am. But you got to keep in mind, they're 2 young ladies. You can't say some of the things that my father and I said to each other to young ladies. And they go at it a whole different way. I think women have a different respect for it, and they go at it a whole different manner, not as aggressive and not as, they're probably quicker witted than we are. So I try to take a different approach to that. I think they do their best to try to make sure they know, they're doing what I want them to do. I don't really criticize them. I think the best thing you can do is learn from your mistakes. They've had, it seems like if I'm around, they probably get a little bit more nervous and a little bit more, not as coherent to what they should do. Last weekend, we had a great weekend where we were up in North Dakota, and they ran late models Friday night, and they weren't the greatest. And we ran my father's memorial at Fargo with the Outlaws on Saturday, and it wasn't the greatest. But then Sunday night they wanted to go racing at Buffalo River just down the road, and I told them I couldn't do it, and sure enough they ran 1-2. So I think there's something to me not being there that says, you know, they're figuring it out on their own, and that's great, because I still have a very important job to do with the TSR guys and everybody at CarQuest and Sage Fruit, and I don't see any of that changing in anywhere in the near future. So they're going to have to kind of pay attention to what's going on, and believe me, they've got a lot of great role models. Sheldon does a wonderful job with them and helps them out, and they got a lot of great young talent that they can look at and transpire to be. So I want them to be, you know, better than I am. So if we're going to be serious in that, they got to start looking towards the guys of today that they're going to be racing with, and try to take and learn from them.
So I've watched you my entire life. I've learned something about you this year that I didn't know before.
All 22 years?
all 20. I've learned something about you this year, though, and that's just how family-oriented you are. So obviously we hear the stories of, you know, you and your dad growing up racing back in the day, but even today, such a close relationship with your nieces. Your sister Deanne, her husband Mike, incredible people, and they're at the races, not every single weekend, but quite a bit. Your mom is still at almost all your races running the t-shirt trailer. How much still do you rely on your family support?
Are you really only 20?
Yeah.
Man, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry about that. Shows my age here. I can't even tell a 20-year-old anymore. So you can't even have a drink yet?
No. I can drink NOS.
Oh, okay. Good call. You know, family's what got me here. I would not be here today had my father not been able to financially support me with our own car. You know, and my mom's been a big supporter of this. Both of them have. And obviously my father's not here with us anymore. But I think over the years, you know, the brand that's been built around me is a lot to do with her and what she does. I mean, she thoroughly enjoys being here and selling T-shirts and more so talking to people. That's one thing my father really loved doing, was talking and conversing with people and making sure they were on the right political party and all these other things. So, you know, you learn from those aspects of it. And I still, to this day, I'll get people come down in the pits and they'll say, you know, I really don't like you, but I love talking to your mom. And I'll say, that's great. You don't have to like me. But so that's just family. You know, we've all supported each other. We've all enjoyed this together. There's not a lot of, you know, I feel very fortunate that I have that. I mean, they've grown along with me. My father got to see me almost all of my 300 career wins, and obviously he was there on 300, which was really important. So, you know, you'll have that, and we're just very blessed for that. So hopefully it doesn't change.
Well, Donny, thank you so much for your time here joining us on the Sage Fruit stage. Great talking to a legend as always. Good luck this weekend, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, that's Donny Schatz, the 10-time Outlaw champion. We're going to take a quick break here on Dirt Vision. We'll be back with more from Raceday Live on the Sage Fruit stage after this message.
You wanted the best, you got them for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt. The World of Outlaws.
Race fans, the World of Outlaws are powering into the Stockton Dirt Track for one night only. Friday, September 6th, see the greatest show on dirt superstars battle California's heroes. High speeds, huge horsepower, and wheel-to-wheel action. Tickets at worldofoutlaws.com or 844-DIRT-TICKS. Buy in advance and save. The World of Outlaws, Friday, September 6th, the Stockton Dirt Track. Be there.
Welcome to our world. A world of dirt, drift, and dodging fate. A world where all of motorsport collides. A world of digging deep, of grit, glory, and bitter defeat. Inhabited by the strong, the fearless, the barely sane. Welcome to our world. Welcome to the world of NOS.
This is my 2017 Ford Edge with 123,000 miles. Recently, it became sluggish with a slight drop in gas mileage. It was recommended I add Seafoam motor treatment in the gas every few weeks. After a few months, There was a noticeable improvement in the power, and it's more responsive when I give it gas. Happy customer here.
To find out more about Seafoam products and how they can help your engine run better and last longer, go to Seafoam. Everybody's hooking up, getting down, turn up their little town, loading up the cooler and heading South Beach bound, working on their tan, koozie on a beer can, party every night, going up their hands. Ain't no crying in your beer. Ain't no she walked out the door. Ain't nobody broken hearted in country music anymore.
Tony, do you even remember how to drive one of these?
It's not something you forget. You should know that. The drive to succeed, the need to win, the desire to be a champion. And we surround ourselves with partners that believe the same. Like Tony Stewart Racing, Sage Fruit strives to be the best in all they do. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears all year long.
You can compare apples to apples, but nothing compares to a Sage Fruit apple. Winning quality in every bite.
Welcome back to the Sage Fruit stage. We are live outside of turn number 4 here at Huset Speedway, getting set for tonight's Huset's Hustle, presented by Fulkins Brothers Trucking. Some driver's going to walk out of here with a $25,000 payday here this evening. Shawn Neisteadt with Connor Wade, joined now by Kraig Kinser, driver of the Premier Motorsports car number 70. Kraig, welcome back to South Dakota.
Thanks for having me.
Ready to go here tonight. You got a little bit of action in earlier this year on June 19th here at the racetrack. Tonight starts again what should be another 3 consecutive nights of racing.
Yeah, it's good. It's always good to come back here. It feels like for the last little bit, I haven't got a chance to race here much, so it's always good to come back here. I got to come out here quite a bit when I first started. That's just where I'm at.
How are things just on the road between you and your team? Obviously, see you and Alex, Pete's son, out on the road quite a bit. Cody Diggles is with you guys. You guys just always seem like you're laid back and having fun, and you're hanging out at the Sides Bar and Grill with Jason and Jimmy and even Landon Crawley, who's pretty young. But you guys just all seem like you always mesh so well together out on the road.
Yeah, I mean, getting on the road's one thing, but at the same time, we've been struggling this year, and we all feel it. So that part of it, we've been trying to mesh, and that's kind of how we are. It's we seem to get along pretty good, but we'd like to be able to take that chemistry and show it on the track a little bit more than what we have.
When the results aren't exactly where you want them to be, where you say you're struggling a bit on the road, do you lean on your experience from all of your years and all your different disciplines of racing to be able to tell those younger guys with you, hey, we just need to stay calm and go to work? Is that what you do?
I mean, that's what we try and do. But at the same time, Alex is a young crew chief. He wants to be doing this for a while, and he. Like I told him, I said, it doesn't matter. Sometimes the driver can't get you out of it. You just got to take your licks the first couple of years. Because you're running against the best sprint cars in the country, day in and day out. You get no breaks. They're constantly there. You constantly got to be 100% when you hit the track, and that's just where we got to get to. Get to a place where that 70 cars rolling around, and get more notes in his notebooks, maybe learn not what to do at a lot of tracks, and next time you show up, you might show up a little bit better.
You've ran this tour for so long and obviously learned so much, had a lot of really good efforts and big wins and stuff like that, but struggles, as you mentioned. What kind of a mental person do you have to be? What kind of mental state do you have to have, and mental strength to be able to balance and get through both the ups and the downs?
I mean, that's racing. That's what everybody goes through. It's the ups and the downs. That's racing. I mean, everybody'd like to be on top. There's only a few that have been fortunate enough to have been that good all the way through the decades. And just getting to that level, it takes a special car owner, special crews, special drivers. It takes the whole package to get to that level, and that's what all of us work for. And you're constantly trying to work to get better and get better and get better, and we might try and brush off the bad nights to get up to the upswings, so you're running good. And at this point, we're just trying to put a good package when we start the races that we might be in contention.
We were talking here a little bit ago with Donny Schatz and talking about Danny, his father, and how instrumental he was in his career. And we don't have to talk long about Kraig Kinser before your father comes into the conversation. Do you lean on him still at all at this point in your career for, after a tough night, or how does that work?
Yeah, I still do. I mean, we've been fortunate enough. We got to race with each other a long time. We got to, after he retired, I got to do that now for quite a bit. And I try to as much as I can. He's still to that point where I know he wants to race still. Like if it wasn't for Father Time catching up to him a little bit, he'd be up here. He definitely loves the competition, loves sprint car racing so much. So I don't see him at the track as much as I thought, even at this point. I thought he'd get more comfortable showing up. And right now he's just content, kind of staying away, because you can tell when he's at the track that he wants to be not the spectator. He wants to be the guy in the car.
Like you said, we don't see him at the track a ton. I've seen him once this year for sure that I remember at Hobstadt. Don't know if he's been to any other races besides that, but how's he doing away from the track? Is he in good spirits? Does he tune in? What is he up to these days?
He's working hard, being the groundskeeper at the house, I guess. So, he works harder probably now than what he ever did when he was racing, other than the miles logging in between. But, he's definitely he's up early, and, he's usually working until the sun goes down, just messing around with stuff. Nothing serious, nothing that's going to completely wear him out. But, he's loving life. He's enjoying it. He's enjoying not traveling, hanging out with guys that, he has missed over the last few decades. So, he enjoys that aspect of it, and he still, he loves racing so much. And like I said, I know it probably burns him the way we run some nights, but he gets over it. And, he heads off the couch and stops watching Dirt Vision, and might call me the next morning and tell me things to work on.
You've been on the trail long enough that you've got a lot of great relationships out there on the road, and I know when you come into this area, you've got Dave Lunstra and Jamie Lunstra. You can lean on them and hang out at their shop. And how important are the relationships like that when you go out on the road from Dirt Car Nationals all the way through the World Finals?
Yeah, I mean, there's always relationships like that. That is a nice thing about our sport. I feel like we're a very, like you said, family-oriented type deal, not just with my direct family, but like the whole racing family, just the whole community is, it's something special. You got a lot of guys that would bend over backwards to help you up and down the road. Just a lot of the friends you meet over the years, they're always there. If you're in trouble around their neck of the woods, they'll do whatever they can, especially in this area. Like, I know when I'm out in this way, I know I'm looked after, and it's definitely, those relationships are something else. If it wasn't for racing, I would have never met, half the fans I know, half the friends I know. So, I gotta thank the sport for that. That's for sure.
Let's talk about your direct lineage, though. I mean, the Kinser family, it's well beyond you and your dad, right? It's Mark and it's Carl, and there's so many other different. Parts of the family tree. In the Hall of Fame in Knoxville, Iowa, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum, there is a piece of paper in there that has the Kinser family tree on it. Back around 2012, when my family was running Wayne sprint cars, I was around Cody Kinser and his dad, I believe Kelly, a decent amount, and they're like distant cousins that are barely even related to you guys, but still the family is so big. What does all the lineage and the size of the family mean to you?
Yeah, it's something else. Like, I spent a lot of time with Kelly and Cody growing up. They're the next town over. We all live in southern Indiana. It's just, we all see each other at racetracks. When I first started, Kelly was still racing. My uncle was still racing. Mark and Carl were still racing. My dad was racing. My grandpa just retired. I didn't start racing until my grandpa retired because I didn't have anybody to go to the track with me. And once he retired, then my grandpa started filling those shoes and started getting me to the track, started, letting me cut laps, start to learn. And, it's just the way it is when the family, on the weekend, you're going to see them at the racetracks because that's what everybody around there did.
No family reunions needed there. You see each other anyway. Let's talk about this weekend. I know there's more than 40 cars checked in already. Where do you set goals on a big show like this for the Premier Motorsports Group?
Like right now, I'm just not setting too many goals. My expectations are, we go in, we concentrate on the first part, which is hot laps and qualifying and laying laps down, because your whole night changes from those laps you lay down, and what you need to work on, what you need to do to get faster, to maybe get taken off a little better. If you're starting in the back a little bit more, you got to feel like you got to do almost different things to your car to give you a better chance than what you would if you were out front. So we kind of take it one step at a time, but we're definitely looking to get solid and get better every time we hit the track.
You are no stranger to winning big races. One of my favorite Knoxville Nationals to go back and watch videos of, especially the celebration, is the 2005 Nationals that you won. What do you remember about that race and just that week and the celebration for sure? It was so cool seeing your dad in there. You climbed the fence, which I think is awesome. Not a lot of people do that in Knoxville. How special is that win to you?
I mean, it's definitely special to me. Just everybody there, my grandpa there, both grandpas there. Like it was, it was definitely a great time in my life. One that I look back from time to time. Not as much as I probably should, but I remember quite a bit about it. Certain things about the weekend, but it's all racing stuff. Like we were racing the whole time, trying to dodge raindrops all weekend, and it's just the way it worked out. Had a good qualifying night, gave us a chance to make some ground up in the scramble. And after the scrambles, we ended up on the front row of the thing. So, and then we were just fortunate enough to cut good laps in the feature and not let Donny get to us.
What's been the biggest change in sprint car racing from those days, 2005, to now?
I mean, there's a lot of rule changes, a lot of different things. Motors have gotten better, cars have gotten better, knowledge is out there, a little bit easier to get a hold of. Maybe with the social media, with just the aspect of it, it's easier for people to pick up on it than it was years ago. You can watch videos. Like when I first started racing, you went blind into a lot of tracks, and you learned on the fly. You learned by trying to get behind somebody that you knew was good at the track and try and see how he's hot lapping, because right after that you go into qualifying. We still had the inversions in, so it didn't mean as much as it does now, but you still were, that's how you learned. Like you definitely got the knowledge from the seat. Now it feels like if you're not watching videos, especially younger drivers that have never been to the tracks, you're missing out. You need to keep an eye on it, and it's a lot easier to get that information now.
Well, Kraig, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on Raceday Live on the Sage Fruit stage. Love talking to you. Best regards to you and your team this weekend, but send our well wishes to your family as well. We miss seeing especially your dad out here at the track.
Yeah, no worries. He watches every night, so he feels like he's probably here in spirit half the time, but he gets his fill of sprint car racing. He does. He's been to more this year than what I expected him. He just slyly goes in there and just hangs out. Sometimes he's in the pits, sometimes he hangs out somewhere else. So, but he has been to a few of them this year.
How about it for Kraig Kinser, driver of the Premier Motorsports number 70? We're going to throw it to another quick break here from Raceday Live on the Sage Fruit stage. Two more guests on the docket before we get into pre-race coverage of the Huset's Hustle here at Huset Speedway in South Dakota.
If this is your idea of ladylike, you're gonna fit right in. Join us at Toyota Racing.
Tony, do you even remember how to drive one of these?
It's not something you forget. You should know that. The drive to succeed, the need to win, the desire to be a champion. And we surround ourselves with partners that believe the same. Like Tony Stewart Racing, Sage Fruit strives to be the best in all they do. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears all year long.
You can compare apples to apples, but nothing compares to a Sage Fruit apple. Winning quality in every bite.
How'd I do?
Great if you're not looking at the clock.
Sure you got that? I had to be faster than that, right? 100% NOS, zero sugar coating. New NOS, zero sugar. Get after it.
This copyrighted Dirt Vision broadcast may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or distributed in any form without World Racing Group's written consent. Copyright infringement is a federal crime.
Back at Huset Speedway, where later on tonight, $25,000 will be paid out in the Huset's Hustle, presented by Fulton's Brothers Trucking. Connor Wade and Shawn Neisteadt with you here with Raceday live on the Sage Fruit stage. After this, we'll kick it to Dave Reef back in the studio in Concord, North Carolina. Then after some words from Dave, we'll come back here to the track where we'll have hot laps for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series to get this weekend started. Garet Williamson is joining Shawn Neisteadt and myself here on the stage ahead of this great week of racing at Huset's that we have. Garet, Huset's is a place that's been pretty good to you this year.
Yeah, I feel like every time we come here, I feel like we have pretty good speed, and really this year, all year, we've been really fast and have a really nice package here, so I don't think there's a better place I'd like to get a first Outlaw win than here, and I feel like it's definitely just got to put a full night together. It obviously starts with qualifying and just kind of pick your way off from there and just got to set yourself up all night.
Was there anything specific about Huset's that suits you well?
I don't know what it is. I just seem to like it, and especially this year, it's really gotten wide. Both nights we've won here, and we've been really good when it's gotten wide. So I don't know what it is. It's just my tendencies last year, I felt like we were really good on big tracks, and this year I feel like kind of flipped roles, and the short stuff we've been really good at, and obviously here we've been exceptionally well, I feel like. I think the only night we probably weren't in the top 10 was the Outlaw show, and we were good, and we just didn't get through our heat race and had to come from the B, but we were still fast, qualified pretty decent, and so I don't think it wasn't the lack of speed then. It's just, like I said, you just got to set yourself up all night, and you really got to get to your heat race and qualify good.
So last week we talked about it a little bit, but you're coming on tour for a little bit, 6 or 7 weeks, something like that, through the West Coast swing to build a notebook for a potential run with the series in the future. What is the idea there? Is the idea that full-time run will be in 2025, or is this something that's maybe still 2 or 3 years down the road?
I'd like to say it would be next year if we do it. I think that's when the Fisher family had the idea to put this team together. That was the end goal, is they wanted to get a team on the road. So whether it be next year or the year after, hopefully next year. But I don't think it's definitely not out of the cards right now. Next year, that's what we were building for. So just kind of we're really leaning on some partners right now, trying to put some deals together, and as long as that goes good, I feel like we have a really good chance that will be the plan next year. So yeah, obviously just build a notebook everywhere we're going right now, go to as many new places that we'd be going that we don't have in our notebook now and that we'd be going to next year, and just life on the road, just try to adjust to that as quick as we can. It's more than just driving here, driving there. It wears on you, and you just got to really try to build and learn how to do it, honestly.
You're in the midst of that about 2-month stretch with the Outlaws. You mentioned there it's more than going up and down the road and racing. Has it been more difficult than you anticipated?
No, I feel like since I started racing, I haven't really had a home base. My first year racing, where it was with the ASCS National Tour, so I feel like I've been on the road, but now it's more of obviously a bigger stage, more miles. The competition's obviously the best in the country, so it's really easy to get down on yourself. And if one night goes bad, it can really snowball quick if you don't get it out of your head and out of your mind. So I feel like that's something I'm trying to learn and grasp, is just get rid of the bad things, take the good from them, just keep building from that, and just knowing that we have speed, it's just putting it together and trying to be as consistent as we can.
Think back 13 months ago. Early August last year, you were out of a ride right before Knoxville, if I remember correctly. You and Brian Paver had parted ways, and man, look at you now, a little over a year later. You're in a position to potentially go on the tour next year. What have you done in the last 13 months to surround yourself with good people and give yourself such good opportunities?
I think you hit it right on the head. Just surrounding yourself with good people that want to see you do well and have your best interests is really what I've tried focusing on, is just being around the best people that obviously you know who's good in the sport and has the good intentions for you and to better yourself, and obviously me trying to better their brand. So just surrounding myself with really good people has really been a main focus, and then just trying to learn from as many people as I can, and just obviously my ears always open. There's so much to learn, and I don't think you never know enough. So just shake as many hands, listen to as many people as I can, and obviously I want to be in the sport a really long time. So to do it a long time, you have to be surrounded by really good people.
You talk about having those good people on your team. One of them, Dennis Moore Jr., who was almost a folklore legend in these parts in his racing career. He had 5 wins in his driving career here at Huset. You're quickly closing in on that.
I need to get a few more than I can't let him beat me on that. So yeah, Dennis, I think everywhere we go. I think we were at Charlotte 2 years ago. Some random guy came up with a I think it was a picture of him on a Harley in Knoxville with a bandana. I'm like, just random places. People always, there's no one that doesn't have a story of Dennis and know him. So I've learned so much from him, and obviously not driving and then just how to do it and what it takes. Really, he's been such a good mentor, and it's really been good for my racing career, and I'm glad everything's worked out with us and we've had a lot of fun.
How old are you? I don't know that for sure.
24.
24, okay.
Yeah.
Younger than I thought, actually. For a young driver like yourself, what is it like for you having a guy that's been around, just to lean on? Because obviously a lot of people have that. They have, whether it be a crew chief or a driver coach or whatever the case may be. But I feel like everybody utilizes it differently. So specifically for you, how do you utilize that veteran knowledge to lean on?
I think it works really good for us. Just I feel like we communicate really well, and obviously he understands what I'm trying to say in the race car, and he can honestly get it. If I'm not saying it right, he kind of knows what I mean, and we end up getting it out in one way or another. So we've just really gotten really good knowing our own language of what I want out of the race car and what he's seen, and I think that's huge to be better and quickly. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but just our knowledge put together has really been good, and he's made me a better race car driver really fast. So I think that's key going up and down the road. You really don't have time to waste, so I think he's shortened that curve for me a lot.
You talk about finding speed and success this year. So how do you set a goal? What do you look to do when you come in here and you're against 40 of the best drivers in the world going for a 6-figure payday coming up on Sunday night?
I think your first goal just has to be qualifying. I feel like any big show or just a regular show in general right now or anywhere is qualifying. If you don't qualify good, it's really hard to get out of that hole. And everyone's so good now anywhere you go. I mean, down to a local show, if you don't qualify good, it's hard to pass race car because everyone's so good. Everyone's equipment's very similar, and I think a main focus for us right now is qualifying. We haven't been great at it really all year, and it's just been up and down. So if we can qualify good, I feel like we're a really fast race car, and just getting ourselves out front, we can race with anyone, but it's just getting to that point.
What do you think it takes to put a whole night together and have the balance to be good, not only in qualifying, but whenever you get later in the night, whenever the track changes, whenever it widens out, whenever it gets slicker, the drip, the moisture kind of goes away, maybe the moisture comes back at some places. What kind of a balance do you have to have a race car that's good for the whole night?
I just feel like right now you have to be really good in dirty air, and just getting to lap traffic, that's where guys really, you see the good guys be good and the mediocre guys struggle is when you get to lap traffic. So just being good enough to get to lap traffic and then be able to maneuver through lap traffic, I feel like is huge key to winning big races, and just being smart and not putting yourself in bad spots and really just being thoughtful behind the wheel.
You've been here the majority of the races throughout the season here at Huset. Was that a goal of winning weekly shows, or was it all trying to build a notebook for this week so you're ready to go for the 6-figure payday?
I think it was honestly just I like racing here, and it's a great place to come to. So to fill in our schedule, I feel like anywhere you can go that has great pay and great competition, and everything is honestly great here. The Todd Quirin's built a great facility down to the staff, race cars that show up, the payout's phenomenal. So, and obviously, we have the the biggest show now obviously got rescheduled for later in the year, but a 6-figure payday is huge, and laps here are really important, and I feel like we've done good at building a good notebook for here for a weekend like this.
do teams use the bigger races to kind of get an idea of where they're at? Because you can go and win a weekly show, you can go to a standard outlaw show and do good, but is that really worth anything if you go to the Kings Royal, the Knoxville Nationals, or Huset's and can't even make the show? So will you use those big races to kind of say, hey, this is how we did at those shows, this is where we're at as a team?
In a sense, obviously, everything changes for some reason for these big shows, whether it be the format or whatever it is. You know, we've been good at places and go back to them and we're horrible. So I think just stuff really has to fall your way a lot of the times, and whether it be qualifying, but that's where you see the great guys be great, is no matter what they draw, or they always end up back at the top. So I think that's what we're trying to strive for as a team, is to be one of those teams that no matter what hole we get put in, that we can get ourselves dug out of it and be good.
3 difficult days here at Huset's, and then you're heading west with the Outlaws. Are you ready? Excited? Nervous? Where do you stand?
I don't know. I think I'm really excited just to get back out west. I went there a few years. I think 2020 I was out there twice, and beginning of the year I went out there with ASCS and it was horrible. I don't think I made it A main, and then I went there later in the year and we were really good. So it's the last time I've been there, and obviously I'm really excited to go with the Outlaws, go to some really cool racetracks and just build a notebook. And Dennis Moore, that's where he raced a lot at, so obviously try to be better than he was out there. It'll be hard, but I'm sure I'll get an earful most nights.
Which of these tracks have you been to, and which ones are going to be new for you?
I think Merced, and we go to Keller, right?
Hanford,
or Hanford, yeah. I think those are the only two. I didn't even get to race Hanford. I think I destroyed it in hot laps. So Merced, we were good at Merced though.
So have you watched videos of Tulare?
Yeah, I think every trophy cup I've watched, and then what are those, the old loud pedal videos? I think watched every single one of those that have ever been made, and then just Tulare is awesome. So really excited to go out there.
Well, Garet, thank you so much. It's been fun watching you on the tour. Hope you decide to come on next year. Would love to have you.
Hope so.
All right, how about it for Garet Williamson? He'll be in action this weekend with the World of Outlaws Knott's Energy Drink Sprint Car Series at Huset's. Shawn and I have one more guest to talk to. We'll tell you who that is on the other side of this break here on Dirt Vision.
I think it's a very big deal that we have AMCUS, providing us with the AMCUS cutting tools throughout our series and World Racing Group. It's good that we were able to get a product in that's reliable and it does the job. If for some reason we had to cut a car apart or get access to a driver or a patient, we know that this tool here is definitely the one that we're going to work the best, get us in there quickly.
I'm Buddy Kofoid. Get closer to the action with special offers and a chance to join me in Victory Lane. Sign up now to be an outlaw.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
You spend thousands of hours on the road.
Can he do it again?
Feel hundreds of horses under the hood. But every race, lap, and victory you get starts at zero. New NOS, zero sugar. Zero sugar, 100% NOS, get after it.
It's ARP fasteners for whatever you race. From 2 wheels to 4. Off-road, on-road, even water. From the flat track to the salt flats. Grassroots racers, weekend warriors, and pros alike trust ARP. Made in America quality, family owned and operated. When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com. No matter what you race.
There are a number of outcomes that we want students to achieve after they complete a career technical education program. One of the first outcomes is to have employability skills. We start as early as the elementary division where students are exposed. We allow students in the middle division to explore, and we want students in the senior division to practice. The opportunity to practice those skills throughout the course of their high school career is critical.
You make me wanna slow. You make me wanna slow.
We're on the Sage Fruit stage outside of turn number 4 here at Huset Speedway. Race Day Live coming to you as we get set for tonight's Huset's Hustle, presented by Fulkins Brothers Trucking, the first of 3 huge nights of racing with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Shawn, Neisteadt, Connor Wade, and our final guest here for Race Day Live this week is, for this evening, is Giovani Scelzi. Fans, give him a hand. Welcome him to the show. Gio, ready to go?
Absolutely. After June got completely washed out, it kind of took the wind out of our sails, and thought they might try to race over 4th of July weekend, but obviously this was a better choice for them.
Shawn's going to want to talk about racing, and I'll probably want to talk about racing too, but we'll get to the important, well, let's start with the important stuff. I hear things have been going good at the casino lately.
Never can let it down, can them? Yeah, they have. It was crazy. I was driving by Grand Falls and my truck got a vibration or something, and it pulled me right in the parking lot. I don't know what happened. We got to work on it in the parking lot, but wasn't great last night. But we'll have to never give up. There's winners and there's quitters in gambling.
I think last week, if what I heard is true, I think last week you'll be all right for a while.
Yeah, it was good. My girlfriend hit the button, so she's paying taxes. That's all that matters.
I just feel like I'm sitting here, like, no matter which way I look, I'm seeing the same person. It's almost double vision up here.
I get it everywhere we go. Everybody always comes up and asks me if I'm Gio Scelzi. I don't think anybody's asked you if you're me yet, though.
No,
right?
just get my signature down. You'll be signing autographs all over.
Right? Yeah, I could easily do it.
Let's talk. That's fantastic.
Back to racing. Why are we talking about racing?
Man, I got to be the serious guy, I guess. You've won here, May 22nd of 2022. Do you remember the night?
I do. We drove a long way from, I think, Port Royal the week before or a couple days before. One at Sealands Grove not long before that, I think, and then one here. So this is a very, very tough racetrack to race at, how the dirt changes over the race. And the races are won in the last 10 laps. There's no doubt about that, really anywhere, but especially here, how the surface really changes.
You've had such a good year. Wins with the Outlaws, not only that, but a big win at Eldora on the prelim for the Joker's Jackpot, second in the Knoxville Nationals. How proud are you of what you and TCP have done this year?
Yeah, I'm extremely proud. The job's not done yet. I feel like it's easy this time of year when you head out west to be on the downhill slope of the season, but everyone's tired. Everybody wants to go home, and there's 24 more races left in the year. So, like I said, the end of the season is where you can really make a lot of headway.
This part of the season gets tough to stay on the grind, but for you, a little home cooking coming up after this weekend. You've got to be excited about that.
Yeah, it's great. I haven't been home in probably 6 months to California. Get to see my nieces, my brother, my mom and dad, and a lot of friends and family that go to the races. So luckily, I think all 6 of our races are within about an hour and a half of Fresno. So I get to stay home during the week and get to see all them guys.
Are we going to see Dom in action with us?
We will, yes. All the West Coast Outlaw races, he'll be there.
Nice.
Is there extra pressure being at home? And you mentioned all the family, all the old friends that are going to be there. Is there a little extra pressure?
I don't know. I mean, it's good to see everyone. You get all week at home in Fresno, so get to play golf and see old friends and stuff. But I don't know if there's added pressure. Every race, there's a lot of pressure. Even this weekend being no points, a lot of money on the line. Obviously, out west is points, so every night matters. There's no doubt about that.
Have you put some pressure on yourself to win one of the big money crown jewels? Because obviously you've had good runs in the Kings Royal. Almost won that 100K race with High Limit at Eldora earlier this year. Came really close at the Nationals. Do you feel like you need to win one of those big crown jewel races?
I think I will. Eventually, I feel like I've had a bunch of shots at them, but it doesn't get any easier, that's for sure. And putting a whole week together like at Knoxville, where it starts with your prelim and getting through your heat race, and then builds up obviously into Saturday. So living in Des Moines makes Knoxville a special place for me too, being that close to my new home. And obviously, I want to win any night, but those the National Open, Kings Royal, and Knoxville are the big 3 on the list.
They always say you have to lose the big shows before you can win them. Does that make you, if you could flip forward on the calendar and make next weekend the Knoxville Nationals of 2025, would you?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm a bit of a different person during Knoxville week. There's so much to do, and press and seeing sponsors being our home, like I said. And Man, one Knoxville Nationals a year is enough for me. I feel like it's such a big race with so many people, and the stakes are so high. It's the best race in the world, in my opinion. So to run good at it in the past and run good at Knoxville in general is always encouraging.
Well, the black and gold, was that a one weekend thing, or will we see that at National Open or World Finals or something?
Probably World Finals. For us, it's hard to. We'll go to PA for a couple weeks. To have another wing, another car upstairs is tough. But probably World Finals, I would say. It was cool, something different. It was weird looking out at a black hood, not an orange hood, but looked cool. The fans seem to love it.
And the shirt is still black and gold too.
Yeah, I had to pull this out of the rafters.
When you do those things, you talked about that. It's not just poof. There's a different scheme on the car. There's a lot of logistics behind the scenes. Kind of walk the fans through that. Like that does mean different body work, different wings, and all that.
Yeah, I mean, normally you'll run a new car in June at Knoxville, get your Nationals car kind of sorted out, put the frame aside, and then it's a couple-month process getting a design worked out and coordinating with the artist and the graphic people and getting everything painted and getting 2 sets of wings, a body, a fuel tank. It's a process for sure, and how deep you really want to go into it. Do you want to get a suit that matches a helmet, crew gear like I'm wearing? So it's tough. It's worth it when you win Best Superior Car like we did, which was super cool, and for the artists as well, it was a great accomplishment for us.
So you guys talked about the win that you got here in 2022, a local show. What do you think needs to be done different from that to win an outlaw race here at Huset's?
Format's obviously different this weekend. Tonight's a standalone show, then Saturday carries into Sunday. So it's a bit of a build-up, I feel like, to set a tone tonight. We were really fast here, I felt like, in June. I think I ran 7th or 8th and could have run inside the top 5 easily. So, I think there's not much difference. Obviously, you have a lot of good cars here tonight over this weekend, and with a different format, you look at it a bit differently. You don't have to run top 2 in your heat race. Just accumulate points throughout the week.
You talk about running here and how quickly this racetrack can change. So how busy are you as a race car driver? Are you physically looking at the racing surface to see if you need to transition to a different line? Do you feel it? Is it all of the above? What is it?
I mean, I think trying to get your car right, and it's hard because right when you come off the racetrack, you want to fix the problems you just had. And if you're not on the track for an hour or two, the track's going to change a whole lot. Most of the time, cycle back through to being wet when they work the racetrack again. So they've done an incredible job here with Jackson as well, keeping the racetrack racy and slick and wide and giving us multiple lanes of racing. This place is obviously very tight. The straightaways narrow up a lot. But, yeah, watching the track, having a good relationship with your crew chief to be on the same page about what changes you need to make.
I've heard a lot of people say whenever we were here in June, that was one of the best surfaces that the Outlaws had at Huset's in a while. Would you agree with that?
Without question. It rained a bunch throughout the week, I think, and obviously on the weekend, but to have a track where it's wide, slick, a top and bottom, and the lane's always changing. I feel like the bottom might be dominant for 10, 15 laps, and the top comes in and the middle could come in. So to have a track you can race on as tight as these corners are is instrumental to good racing here.
Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we're into the closing stretch of the World of Outlaws season. How do you keep yourself going? You're going to get a little bit of a reprieve going home to California, and then it's a hard stretch back across the country. So how do you keep going?
Yeah, I mean the want to win. Obviously, it doesn't burn any less hot in me. So. I think keeping the crew guys motivated is everything. They work extremely hard, and whether it's changing cars or trying new things, we're constantly learning with the race car, and Donny will even say it over being out here for 30 years, he learns every single night. So sometimes your bad nights, you can learn more than your good nights, which sounds dumb, but it's just the way it is. I think just staying motivated. I have a great group of guys behind me with sponsors and team and stuff, so they always push me.
So to take it a step further, at what point do you start thinking about next year? Have you guys had conversations for 2025? This is what we're going to do. This is what we need to buy. This is who's going to be back on the crew and stuff like that. When do those conversations start?
Well, as far as I know, I think I'm driving for the same team. They haven't told me otherwise. That could be a bombshell in the offseason, but I'm going to go to Australia this offseason with Dan Golding, race with Liam over in WA, and keeps you fresh throughout the year. I think sometimes going to Australia in the wintertime could just drag everything out in the next year, and you're tired before you even start. So Volusia's a long week. I feel like Volusia is such a unique racetrack and something you kind of just delete off your mind whenever you leave there, because you can't really do a whole lot of the stuff you do there at other racetracks. So you're always thinking about next year to answer your question. I think there's stuff you learn this year with cars and motors and stuff that you'll always carry into the next season.
with that said, you talk about Australia. How do you still give yourself that mental break to be ready to go for the next season, even if you're going to carry through the calendar?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, over there you're driving for a different team, different tires, different wings. Everything is a lot different. So there's not much race car wise you can carry over there, but tracks are different. You race against different guys, so it's almost like a whole different animal to try to master that.
All right. Anything left on your mind before we kick this thing back to Dave Reef in the studio?
Well, Grand Falls is only 20 minutes away, so I have an hour. Well, no, driver's meeting's in 4 minutes, so I don't know if I can make it.
All right. Next year when I'm 21 on the tour, are we going to hit the casinos?
Get ready. You better get a raise.
Oh, boy. All right. Gio, good luck. Thank you so much for joining us. How about a round of applause for Giovani Scelzi, from Shawn, Neisteadt, and myself. That will do it from our Race Day Live here at the Sage Fruit Stage from Huset Speedway. Good luck tonight, Gio. $25,000 on the line tonight. Tomorrow night, a prelim to set up for a $100,000 finale on Sunday. Shawn, the Huset High Nationals weekend is going to be huge. John Dibson, myself, and Shawn will be on the call tonight, but for now, we'll kick it back to the studio in Concord, North Carolina, where Dave Reef will get you ready to start this big weekend here at Huset's.
This has been a presentation of Dirt Vision, a World Racing Group property. For information about upcoming broadcasts, follow us on social media, including Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also watch more than 2,500 classic races and shows anytime at dirtvision.com or the Dirt Vision app.